Yes, I am dressed in a suit. Welcome back to the FFL Rewind podcast. And the reason that I'm dressed in this amazing attire today is because we're going to be doing something very fun. We are doing the FFL Awards today. But I am here with not just Mio this time, but two members of the league. I'm here also with John, aka LaMarvelous. LaMarvelous, say what's up, dude.
What's up, everybody? I am real.
He is real, yeah. So we did not know if he was real for a long time. I still didn't know if D Money was double trolling me for a long time. That John, haha, John's fake, but like he actually is fake, and then he was just a farm system. You never really know. You never know with that guy. You can't trust him. All the feet pictures and stuff. You can't trust anything he says. But yeah. So LaMarvelous, Mio wrote out some questions for you. Mio, give LaMarvelous the FFL Rewind VIP treatment and treat our guest with some of these amazing questions you wrote.
Okay, I mean this is very very simple. But how'd you get into fantasy football? Mostly what
Yeah, that's a good
grabbed your
question.
interest?
Was it
Um,
Derek? Was it the feet picks?
Or nah?
no, so I think it was 2006 was my first
Really?
fantasy season.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Really?
I grew up in Baltimore, Maryland, but spent most of my life in Pennsylvania, Chambersburg. A lot of my friends in my class were Steelers fans.
Ew.
Um,
Disgusting.
Lots of football talk. Yeah, it was terrible.
Just, can I just? I also grew up in central Pennsylvania, and I just say Steelers fans are the worst.
Yeah, they're literally
Yeah,
the worst.
Just very, very arrogant,
Dude.
and I hate that. I hate that stupid Pittsburgh Super Bowl song.
Here we go.
I hate it.
Remember the one for the
Oh
thumb
yeah.
song from like 2007? That was
Oh,
brutally bad. Yeah, the fifth ring or whatever.
yeah,
I think it was Super Bowl
anyway.
XL or something. Yeah.
Anyway, official cast is anti-Steelers.
Yeah, we all hate the Steelers. Yeah, if you're a Steelers fan, I want you banned from the league instantly. Just drop out.
It was such a bad, like, going to school in 2006 to like 2010. The Ravens weren't really like good. Like, we didn't have Hardball.
That was like the
We
Trent
had
Dilfer days, wasn't it, or something like that?
it was right after that. There was like
Oh,
Kyle
okay.
Bowler.
Yeah.
We
Yep.
had Steve McNair,
Yep.
and we were always like,
Was Bullock still the coach?
yeah,
You had
yeah,
Troy Smith at one point too, didn't you?
Troy
From Ohio
Smith.
State.
Yep,
Yep.
yep. Like, we were always okay, but the Steelers would whoop us every season. You go to school, you just get upset because people are just talking trash the entire day. Um, but my classmates were really big into football, and they kind of pulled me into their fantasy leagues. So started redraft in 2006, and I remember LT
Oh
was
yes.
popping off at those years, and he
Yep.
was always 101, and got to see Marvin Harrison play. It was pretty cool seeing those guys play back then.
Heck yeah.
Uh, Next thing is, what do you think the biggest difference is between this league and the other sort of leagues? How many leagues are you in? And what's the biggest difference between this league and those other leagues? Best way to ask that.
Yeah, so I'm in one redraft, and that's Derek's family league. I started redraft. My first dynasty was actually this league.
Heck yeah. Mine too. The first dynasty I ever did was the one we
this was,
made.
this was my first.
Yep.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
this is my first.
Derek messaged me one day and was like, "Hey, we have an opening in one of my dynasty leagues." And I was like, "Yeah, if there's a spot." I have no idea how to play dynasty, but like the strategy behind it, I had no idea what I was doing the first couple seasons. But yeah, I would say I'm in one redraft this dynasty. I'm a commissioner in one other dynasty, and then I'm in a third dynasty. So I'm in a total of 4 with redraft. But this league definitely has a special place in my heart
Because the feet picks,
Yeah,
obviously.
yeah.
because of the feet picks.
Yeah, of course.
But like, I had no idea what I was doing. But the difference between this league and my other leagues is, I would say that the chat's a good bit more active.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
there's not many Dereks in my other leagues. Like, everybody's pretty laid back, and they do trades and stuff like that, but nobody's really aggressively talking about other people in the league. So
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of complainers about how crazy everyone in our league is, but I also think that's the special sauce too. Like you need the trash talk
Oh,
and the
definitely,
bullying and the craziness
definitely.
because otherwise like the league's just not fun. Like you want
Yeah.
10 people that just like don't talk in the chat and are like just check their team like once a week. Like that's not fun to me. So I wanted one that is the crazy, toxic, wild, deserving of a podcast type of league. So yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm in one other Dynasty league, and it's not nearly. There's no one talks in the chat, and just like there's just it's a lot less like there's just a lot less trades, and so everything just feels a lot less liquid. Like in this league, I feel like if I get a guy, I can get off him pretty easily if I really
Right.
need to,
Pause.
and that just isn't true in other leagues.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
All
you
right,
said
and
you
then
said
final
you could
question.
get him off pretty easily. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
yeah.
So, all right, Marv, we need to get to
Uh,
the juicy stuff. Okay. So,
Mhm.
I need to hear what went through your soul and what you were thinking when you lost in the semis by less than a point. I need to hear about this.
Oh, this is pain. Here's my take on everything. I hate Matt LaFleur, and that's it. No, I'm just kidding. So okay,
I mean,
realistically,
I also hate Matt LaFleur.
realistically, I talk to Derek like daily. Like even when we were facing each other, we were just constantly talking back and forth. And
Mhm.
I had like a ballpark idea what Jacobs needed to win, and I was always telling Derek, I think I need 20. Like you got Demario, I think it was Demario Davis, who's going to be tackling Josh Jacobs, so he's probably
Right.
going to chip in 5 to 10 points somewhere in there.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I think I was down like 13 going into the game or something. Um,
Mhm.
so I was thinking 20. So I think early in the game, Jacobs had a couple chances at the 1 or 2 yard line, and on first and goal, they didn't run the ball, which was strange. They were at like the 2. And I was like, crap, he's probably not going to get it, and he didn't.
Dang.
Then
I remember
they
the one,
yeah,
the first goal line they went to, I think Wicks,
yep,
and I was just like, come on.
That guy
Yep.
can't catch to save his life.
yeah. And I think later in the game they came back and they actually gave it to him. But I remember when the first drive when they didn't give it to him, I think I literally fell to my knees in my house and woke my wife up. Like she heard a thud. I can't sit down on the couch and watch something like that. Like I'm literally standing the entire time.
Yeah. Were you holding a
And-
shotgun to your head or?
No, but sometimes I wish I would have. But
Okay,
my
like
wife
obviously you were pacing. How much do you think you walked? Like
Yeah. How many steps did you get that day?
just back
A lot.
Yeah.
And my
Just
wife
like in
woke up
mileage.
probably a solid 3 miles.
Easily.
Um,
I mean, that
In
makes
an
sense.
8x8 room.
yeah, a really tiny living room. And my wife woke up to a thud. She's like, "What's going on?" I'm like, "I'm watching the game. I'm in a really heated match with Derek." And she's like, I gotta be up at 4 a.m. Just keep it down a little bit." So I was just standing watching the game, and then later on, Jacob scores,
Mm-hmm.
and I was literally doing laps in my kitchen, like around the kitchen table, like just going. I was just like, "Yes, yes, let's go." And then Derek sends me a message,
Oh no.
and as Michael Scott says, I'm not superstitious. I am a little stitious. And Derek's like, "You won," and I'm like, "Dude, I'm up
Dude, I
like a
hate when
point
he
and a
does
half.
that. I hate when he
Yeah.
does that.
I'm up like a point and a half.
yeah.
Like no, like even if Jacobs, this was
I
before
also
Jacobs
hate-
gets hurt. Like,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Oh no, I just hate it, which is probably all the
Yeah.
proof he needs to keep going.
Yes, exactly. It's proof positive that it works. Unfortunately.
Yeah, he sent me a message. You won. This was before Jacobs gets hurt, and I'm up. I think a point and a half or 2 points or something. And I sent him a message back. I'm like, okay, Jacobs. Let's say he gets like 30 yards more, no touchdowns. You just need a sack and you win. You literally just need a sack and it's over. And then they're up 3 scores. Jacobs runs the ball, and the camera pans to him after he gets up, and you could tell he's like physically in pain. And I'm just
Oh,
like,
yep.
no, like this is not happening.
Oh,
And they did an interview with Matt LaFleur at halftime, and they were like, he's fine, but like they didn't really comment on whether he was going to play again
yeah,
or not.
he's Gucci. He's fine. Yeah.
And I'm just thinking in the back of my head, like they're going to make the playoffs. This is a semi meaningless game. They're up like 3 scores.
Mm-hmm.
They're probably not going to play him again, and I don't think they did. They might have played him like one drive, and he had one
Yeah,
or
I
two
don't know that
carries.
they did. I was watching that too because that was that at halftime or when was that?
Yeah, it was right around halftime.
Yeah, because Jacobs was having a good game too.
He was, yeah.
Yep.
That drive where he scored kind of propelled him. At the time, I was like, yeah, I probably won if he just gets 6 or 7 more carries. But
Right. Dude, that's
so
insane.
frustrated.
When they're up 3 scores.
And it's even more painful because I think it was like 27-0 or something crazy.
Yep.
And I'm just sitting there like watching Demario Davis. It's a blowout. And he's still
Rack of
playing,
tackles.
Like dude's 35 years old. You don't have anybody else at linebacker that can play to get some snaps in a meaningless game.
Not a single guy. Yeah.
And I just see him tackle after
He is
tackle
old as
after
dirt, dude.
tackle. And it was like the second to the last drive of the game, and I think he got 2 or 3 tackles, which actually did it.
Yep.
But honestly, what really did it was the stat correction.
Yep.
Because I noticed that Jacobs he got a half a point removed.
Yeah. Yeah. What was that? What was that for?
Yeah. So what happened was Love. So Love was lined up in shotgun next to Jacobs,
Mm-hmm.
and instead of Jacobs going behind him for like a handoff or like a draw, Jacobs kind of did a little stutter step right in front of Love. So Love kind of like forward pitched it to him, or like sideways.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And they initially ruled that a reception. And there were a lot of people on Twitter that lost fantasy matchups because of that stat correction. Like I sent Derek probably 6 or 7 screenshots.
Oh my
of people who
gosh.
lost by half a point or less.
Yeah.
And
That's.
I've rewatched that, and I still think to this day that was a forward pass. There were people who went to the actual NFL rule book that outlines what a forward pass or a reception is defined as.
This is how you know how down bad all these dynasty owners are whenever they're looking at the actual rule book and stuff.
Oh yeah.
It was just so depressing. I had such a rough first few years in this league just because I didn't know what I was doing, and I put together a better season than I thought I would have.
Yeah. There was a time when I told Derek that I would have, if I had to bet money, I would have bet on you. There was one point in the league. We'll talk a little bit more later about a pivotal point for you, in my opinion. But that's just my take. But I put that down in the doc for later and stuff. But dude, that's such a crazy way to go out. Did you ever check if you would have won the next week if you played perf? Did you ever check?
I would have lost. So
Okay.
I would have lost because Tua got hurt.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
I think Russell played Thursday night, and I had him on my bench. I wouldn't have started him because Tua at the time was still questionable.
Yeah.
So I would have had Tua's lined up as a starter, and I would have
Right.
not gotten any points for that.
Yeah, I was really tilted until Jalen Hurts got hurt in the championship for a ton of people and got 4 points. And I'm like, I probably would have actually blown up my house if that would have happened. If I was in the finals and Jalen Hurts goes out in the first quarter like that. I think it was even the first drive or something. So I feel a little bit better about not making the playoffs now because now obviously I couldn't have known that was going to happen, but yeah, that's
Yeah. It's still painful losing the way I did, but I do feel a little bit better that knowing I would have lost the championship, that would have made things, making I've been fortunate that the Ravens have made the Super Bowl, and both times they won. I can't imagine how bad I would feel if I saw the Ravens make it all the way and they lose.
Yeah, I haven't even had the chance to be let down that bad.
Fun. It's not fun. It's not fun.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I still hate Juju.
True. Well, and so the next things we had on the dock here were to have a couple eulogies, we've had a couple deaths in the family. Now that we've switched to 6 teams in conferences rather than divisions and everything, we need to have a eulogy for our 2 probably most infamous divisions. First, I guess we can start with Marv and Derek and Darren, they are officially not in the same conference with Darren anymore. Darren has been set free. He's probably a very happy boy about that. So yeah, rest in peace to LaMarvelous, Darren, D Money division. Marv, is there anything you want to say about the death of your once infamous division?
It was such a fun division. I know coming into it, like, I was by far the worst team, and Derek and Darren were both just like annihilating me in the chat like every season.
Yeah,
and it was kind of cool to see, like,
It wasn't just in the chat; it was also in the games.
yeah,
true.
The scores and the records, everything. Lots of trash talk. It was kind of fun to, like, become relevant and see the tide change a little bit. Derek and Darren are both very active, and so am I. So, like,
yeah, I love that about it. Yeah,
it made everything, like, sweet. Like, if we needed to get a deal done, either between ourselves or, you know, with other teams, like, we found a way to get something done. And, you know, Darren and Derek, their comments to each other back and forth over the last couple of years are just they're
so funny.
Like,
I love how much Darren, like, hates Derek, but at the same time loves him because of the activity of it. Like, you should hear this. Like, Darren and I meet up for wings sometimes, and he's like, "Dude, I needed to break. Like, I need to get out of here. Like, I can't do this anymore." Because Derek will be saying, like, "Darren, I'm gonna, like, meet your dad in person, and we're gonna talk about how disappointed we are in you," and, like, all this crap. And you're like, "Bro, that's insane. That's insane. Insane trash talk, but also really funny. So I appreciate it." And then so the second eulogy here is for our division, Mio, for our once. This is probably, I mean, I guess there hasn't been that many leagues where I've been in divisions, but definitely the most insanely strong division at one time that I can think of.
I think we were talking. I did the math once, and we were like, at some point, we were like 28 and like 4 against every other division this year.
Dude, I think all of our losses were to each other, like most of the year.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because I kept looking for, like, an edge of, like, all right, so Perv is gonna lose this week, and I'll finally have like because, you know, the games back thing is always there, and you're like, well, I can't get any games back if we're gonna split on our games, and then we each beat every other team we play. So except for Kansas, because Kansas always has everyone's number somehow. But dude, yeah, what an insane year. And
Excuse me?
well, sorry, Kansas has my number every year somehow. Kansas always beats me, and I don't understand it. But yeah, there's something wrong with the water with Kansas. But yeah, rest in peace to our infamous divisions. Now we are moving on to the conference setup. All right,
it definitely made things more interesting and probably more fun, even if missing the playoffs at 9 wins made you want a toaster tub.
Yeah,
it genuinely made things more fun.
It did. I mean,
just knowing that, okay, like, you have to perform every week.
Yeah.
And it was part of me's gonna miss it, and part of me.
I know we can't, like, we're not smart enough to figure out the numbers on this, but I would love to know what percentage of fantasy leagues every year the top point scorer doesn't make the playoffs. I would love to know the answer to that number. Like, I feel like it's probably higher than I would guess, but my guess would be like 5 to 10% or something like that of leagues where that would happen. And it can only happen in funky division settings like we have. Like, if it's in a normal 12 team where it's just listed that way, I can't imagine that even being the case.
Yeah, like wild cards, it probably doesn't happen.
Right. Well, I mean, if we had a wild card this year, it doesn't happen. You know, it just insane stuff. But okay, it is time to move on to what you came here for. It is time for our black tie event. I do have my black tie on. You guys dressed up, right? On your end, you guys have your suits on, ties on, all that stuff. Okay. Okay.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, just want to make sure you guys are
tux just for this.
Right. Yeah, and you have your martini glass with your pinky out and all that stuff, because this is literally going to be better than the ESPYs, better than the Oscars. What's the one where Leo never gets it? Is that the Grammys, or is that the?
That was the Oscars.
That was the Oscars. Okay, so that one already. But yeah, so it is time for the FFL awards. Now I went and I made a Survey Monkey. I don't know how to use Survey Monkey, but I tried to figure it out today. And I think we did okay. So I did end up getting 10 votes for each of these. So we have a pretty decent, like Derek would love to say, sample size. And he loves samples, if you know what I'm saying. So we we have a pretty decent voter base here for these awards. And the first award we're going to be giving out is Steal of the Rookie Draft. And this is by our league. All of these are by our league scoring and also what happened in our rookie draft, right? So first of all, I want to hear from you guys, Marvin, Mio. Who did you guys vote for in this one for the Steal of the Rookie Draft? The contestants are Brian Thomas Jr. Went 110. Brock Bowers went 201. Michael Penix, which it took everything inside my body to not write Michael Penis in there, went 202. Ladd McConkey went 204, and then Bucky Irving 304. So who'd you guys vote for?
I voted Bowers. I voted for Bowers. He just sort of a second round pick for a guy who looks like he's gonna be like tight end so scarce as is.
Dude, yeah.
Like Brian Thomas, Brian Thomas is gonna be awesome. But there's probably Brock Bowers is just gonna be unique, one of a kind.
Yeah.
You draft this guy and your additional advantage for the next decade.
How about you, Marv?
I put him.
I voted for Bucky just because, just where he was taken in the draft, a third round pick, and he's getting a lot of volume, and production.
That's true.
Dude.
But I think you can make a case for any of them because Brian Thomas, he had a really strong second half of the year with no quarterback.
Yeah.
Bowers obviously is insane. McConkey, I think he's exceeding all of our expectations. So
yeah, and it's funny. I was a Ladd McConkey truther, but I didn't expect him to be this good. I expected him to have kind of like a 60 for 750 and 6 type of season. You know what I mean? Kind of like a pretty decent rookie year for a Julian Edelman type guy. You know what I mean? I did not expect him to be 1,000, and I think he's at 80 catches and 7 touchdowns. I was not expecting that straight away. And he's to me, he looks like the very clear one for the Chargers.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Yeah.
So yeah. Well, without further ado, I'm going to reveal the first results here, and the winner is, drumroll please, is Brock Bowers. So Brock Bowers takes the first award. I don't know if you guys can see this on your end. I don't think you can. Brock Bowers got 6 votes of the 10. So 60% of the vote. We had 2 other people to get votes, and that was Bucky Irving in second place with 3 votes and Michael Penix Jr. with 1 vote. So Brian Thomas at the 110 and Ladd McConkey did not get any votes at all. Which I found to be very surprising. Yeah.
Ladd was my number 2.
Right, yeah. So I was between Bowers and Ladd myself. So here's what I was thinking with these guys too. So Bucky, you never know if you're dealing with I can't remember what round Bucky went in. I want to say it was 3rd or 4th round. You can't ever really tell if you're dealing with a second coming of a James Robinson type character from the 3rd round, or if you're dealing with an actual legitimate Aaron Jones type talent that might stick around. But I think if I had to guess, I think Bucky actually sticks around. He doesn't come off a guy that's only thriving off of opportunity. He actually had to break through Rachaad White early in the year and everything too. But yeah, I mean the clear winner this year, Steal of the Rookie Draft, Bowers going to the 2nd round. Bowers is like you said, Luke, Brian Thomas is going to be really good. He'll probably be a top 12 receiver next year if I had to guess. And so McConkey will probably be top 15, top 20. But Bowers is already a historically good tight end, and he just started. It's actually insane. He's breaking. I think he just broke Puka Nakua's rookie reception record already, and he had a game to go. So
I know that as they showed during the Eagles Giants earlier that him and league neighbors were tied. So I don't know like tied for number of receptions. So I don't know if like who's gonna end up with that because I don't have the stats in front of me.
Yeah.
Anything. But
Are you guys surprised that McConkey and Brian Thomas didn't get any votes?
I'm surprised. I think it's amazing what Brian Thomas is doing with his quarterback situation.
Right? Right?
Like I can understand McConkey. Like Herbert's a great quarterback. Like I wouldn't say what he did was expected, but like you could kind of see that path. But like Brian Thomas is just like killing it with Mac Jones. Like what's going on?
Are you guys at all for Bowers next season? Are you guys just a little slightest bit worried? So here's my theory. Okay, bad quarterbacks and bad offenses typically rely on dink and dunks to running backs and tight ends, check downs, stuff like that. Like we saw Evan Ingram get a lot of that in Jacksonville. There's just a lot of like the little dink and dunk stuff. Are you a little bit worried that if Bowers gets a good quarterback or a potentially better head coach or something, that he'll see like a little bit less volume? Because I think for Bowers, to me, it's almost the reverse, where like I want the Raiders to suck continuously, because I think that might be good for Brock Bowers. But I don't know like if they get better.
Well, I was gonna say it's the Raiders, so I'm not really worried. But,
yeah, that's true.
I don't know. I think good coaches. I think I said this to you about Etienne in Miami, but like good coaches just to their best guys, and
yeah.
But Bowers sort of, what's the term? He alphaed McConkey.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he's next level crazy good. Like, I would love to see him in a good offense, but I also am a little worried that in good offenses they don't tell you to just throw drag routes to Brock Bowers all game. Like, it's not like it won't work, but it's more like, I don't know if that's the best value for your offense. You know what I mean? But like Bowers, I hope in the future we'll get more like downfield chances and stuff like that too. But
yeah, I think he'll be consistently good. Like he had, I think, 3 different quarterbacks this year.
Yeah, and they all sucked.
Yeah, like I think he's going to be consistently good. Like people are comparing him to Kelsey, and I know it's too early for that, but
yeah. No, I mean, he's already, like, if he does 3 years of this, he's already going to be, like, one of the greatest tight ends ever. So, I'm not super worried about him. That's my only knock on Bowers is, like, I wonder, well, I mean, like Luke said, I guess it's the Raiders. It'll take a minute for the Raiders to be good, I think. I don't think they even have a shot at a quarterback this year, so we'll see. But anyway.
Next year in redraft, it's first between Bowers and Thomas. Because I kind of think it's Bowers just from...
I think it's Bowers. I think there's a really positional scarcity argument. Like you can make an argument that Bowers should be top 5 next year. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see him go that high. Thomas will be a first round pick probably too. Because the other thing with Brian Thomas is like I don't think people are giving him even as much respect as he probably deserves because he has been in the most dysfunctional garbage Jacksonville situation and is still just like lighting the world on fire. It doesn't make any sense. So yeah, good for you, Brian Thomas.
A lot of this is going to depend on who the Jag, like if the Jags pay out the nose for, and there's probably going to be a lot of excitement for Brian Thomas.
Yeah, I hope the Raiders go out and get like Justin Fields or something, just someone who's gonna not truck the ball downfield a lot. So that'd be good. All right, so we're going to the second vote of the evening. Please grab your martini glasses. This is the...
I forget who I voted.
This is the playoff... That's okay. The playoff stud of the year. This one, I'll just tell you right away, was kind of a boat race. Again, we had 10 votes on all of these. The contestants were Jalen McMillan with 50 fantasy points. I threw him in there because he's the first guy that came to mind because he just kept scoring touchdowns every single week. Lamar Jackson with 108 points, which actually Mio pointed out Jared Goff had more than that, apparently. Yeah, Jared Goff was slinging it down the stretch here. Jahmyr Gibbs, 75 points. With Monty going down, Gibbs has been very good. And then Saquon with 57 points, because I know a lot of people got to the finals with Saquon. And the winner... There's our gun.
Crazy stat that, there's some crazy stat I saw that, half the teams in this year in just like normal leagues had Saquon.
Yeah,
And it wouldn't shock me at all.
dude, he was insane. I know we keep harping on it, but the running backs who changed teams and still killed it just blows my mind. But the winner
Anyway,
of the playoff stud of the year is dun, 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 Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson got 9 of the 10 votes, and only 1 vote went to poor Jahmyr Gibbs. No one else got any votes at all. McMillan and Saquon, nobody cared. So this was just a straight up Lamar Jackson. And to be honest, that makes a little bit of sense in our league because Lamar Jackson is who carried Derek to the finals. Even though Derek, I don't think in the last week Derek had a lot of points, but leading up to that, Derek was like constantly on the ropes. It felt like because the rest of those guys didn't really show up, but Lamar did. Lamar just kept carrying, and I think Lamar was. If I had to bet, Lamar was probably on like 30-40% of championship teams this year. So yeah.
called it.
Did you guys all vote for Lamar?
Yep.
Yeah, I think I did in retrospect.
Yeah, I think I voted for Lamar too. So, all right, we will move on to the next vote because that one was a little bit of a boat race. This one's very interesting here. The comeback player of the year. So, once again, 10 votes. The contestants were Baker Mayfield, who landed at QB4 in our scoring system, Saquon Barkley, who ended up at RB1, Jonathan Taylor, who ended up at RB14. I included him because I think for 2 years in a row he was in the 30s or 40s because he kept getting hurt and everything. Wide receiver 6 on the year, Terry McLaurin, and wide receiver 14, T. Higgins. Now, I want your early predictions, guys. Who do you guys think takes this?
Saquon.
I think Saquon's going to win. I voted for McLaurin just because for years, and I mean years, everyone.
Dude, we all wanted the Terry season.
He's not that good.
Yeah.
He's not that good. Like, he's overrated. Like, that was like for 7 years, and then like he finally got proof that if I have a good quarterback, I can be a top guy. So
Yeah.
I voted for McLaurin. I expect Saquon to win. And I think I'm definitely not going to complain if Saquon wins. But it was pretty clearly between those two for me.
How about you, Marv?
What do you think?
Yeah, I voted Saquon, but I think personally a case could be made for Baker or JT. More so Baker, in my opinion. Just he lost Chris Godwin. He's still putting up amazing numbers. And making the playoffs too. On top of that's awesome. So.
Yeah, you know what? I'm just gonna unveil the winner, and then I will tell you.
Okay. Okay.
So, comeback player of the year. Dun, 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 drum roll. We got the winner with 60% of the vote. Baker Mayfield. QB4 Baker Mayfield. 60% of the vote.
Really?
With tied for second and third, the only other two to get votes, Saquon Barkley with 2 votes, 20% of the vote, and Terry McLaurin with 2 votes, 20% of the vote. So T. Higgins going to wide receiver 14. I think he was in like the 50s or 60s the last year, maybe last 2 years. And then JT again, who had a huge comeback as well. But yeah, Baker Mayfield. So let me give you my theory on this, okay? There was never a time where I don't think anyone ever viewed Saquon Barkley as a bad running back. I think everyone thought Saquon had bad situation, played for the Giants, whatever. Terry McLaurin, in order to be a comeback player, you have to have been like the super dominant player at one point or close to it. Terry's always been good, but had like the big boom season, right? Baker at one point was seen as like a dynasty darling, and he was seen as like when he first started popping off for the Browns, everyone was like, "Oh, Cleveland finally has a quarterback. This is amazing." All that stuff. Baker goes through the whole Watson thing, and then after all of that, is 29 now, ends up in Tampa, and is like the QB that everyone kind of hoped he would be, right? So I think that's probably why people voted for Baker for comeback player. Also, Saquon is in a lot of these throughout the thing, so maybe people just got Saquon tired. But
That's true.
yeah, I think Baker. I voted for Baker personally, and I think that's why Baker got the award. What do you guys think?
I think his comeback was last year, but
Yeah, it was last year, but this year it went.
that forward.
Yeah,
That's
in
true, it
redraft Baker went
this
like
year.
really late in our league. I was surprised by that.
That's true.
So Baker Mayfield, we will be sending your $50 Amazon gift card in the mail. So congratulations on your award, Baker. All right, so next vote is for a little similar but a little bit different award here. So we have the Breakout Player of the Year award. So we have a lot of contestants for this one, which made for some fun results. But we had Jerry Jeudy, wide receiver 10. We had Jackson Smith and Jigba, wide receiver 8. We had Jamison Williams, wide receiver 19. We had Jonnu Smith, my boy, my favorite player in the NFL, Jonnu Smith, tight end 4. We had Chase Brown, RB11, Chuba Hubbard, RB14. We had Baker again, QB4. And then we had Sam Darnold, QB7. So I want to hear who do you guys think won first?
My guess would be JSN.
JSN, okay. Is that who you voted for?
Right, I voted for JSN.
Yeah,
I voted
yep.
for JSN.
You guys both voted for JSN.
Yep.
Wow, okay. Interesting.
It-
Is there anyone you think would be like a...
Finished above. Well, in my brain, it was between JSN, because I didn't realize Chase Brown finished above them, and Darnold. Like, those were the three. But I ended up voting for JSN just because this is going to be sustainable.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, the other two, I feel like, okay, like, this could just be
I
a good run, but JSN, I feel like
I think that
good going
the most surprising is Jonnu Smith.
Oh,
But,
yeah.
but I don't
That's
know if
true.
he's gonna do that again. That's the only reason I didn't vote for him. Like everybody else, I could see them doing this again next year.
Sure, yeah.
So
Do you think Jerry Jeudy has staying power?
I
That's a
he
tough
had
one
so
for
many
me.
injury issues. I think early on in his career, I think
Yeah.
I still think he's good. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and he's shown it this year. He hasn't had a good QB situation either. And
Yeah.
he's put up some really,
If
he has
the
a couple monster games.
If Watson comes back, dude, I'm gonna be so sad for him. That
Yeah.
just gross.
Yeah.
Well, all right. So, dun dun dun. The breakout player of the year is a 3-way tie, and so we had
Really?
once again we had 10 votes. Okay, here's the 3-way tie. No votes for Jerry Jeudy. We had 3 votes for Jackson Smith and Jigba. So you two were 2 of the only 3 that voted for JSN.
Oh, wow.
Jamison Williams, 0 votes. Jonnu Smith, 0 votes. Chase Brown had 3 votes. RB11 on the year, Chase Brown with the firepower Cincinnati Bengals. And then we had Chuba Hubbard, no votes. Baker Mayfield got 1 vote for Breakout Player of the Year. And then the third tie was Sam Darnold with 3 votes. And that's actually who I voted for. Let me give you my Darnold take, okay? I think, as crazy as it is, he might have found a home with the Vikings. And I don't know how in the world they could possibly not sign him now, especially if they make a deep playoff run. Their game's actually on right now. We're not watching it, obviously. Yeah, I don't know how they don't pay Darnold something to come back, because you're gonna go to McCarthy, who you spent a pick on, but dude, like the whole Viking staff is gonna have their heads on pikes if McCarthy's not good and they had Darnold on their team and they won all these games last year. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I have the same.
For a
I have
long
the same
time.
exact take too.
Yeah,
I think that, like, you got McCarthy on a rookie deal. Can McCarthy replicate this season? I don't see it happening. Like, I don't know how you could go from what they're doing this year and take a risk and get a McCarthy.
Yeah.
I could see them trading McCarthy and keeping Darnold. That's what I think is going to happen. But I guess anything could happen with money on the table.
Mm-hmm. What are you gonna say, Mio?
For a long time, basically whenever national reporters say something, it's because like they're just repeating what the guys in the organization, like the message that the orgs are trying to get out. For a long time, for most of the season, the message coming from Minnesota is like, okay, like we are going to McCarthy next season. We're not trading. But like these last few weeks, it's changed. You really want to keep Darnold?
Yeah, I mean, how can't you?
Makes me think that, I sort of, if they're down with, I think what's probably going to happen is they're going to tag Darnold.
Yeah.
And then just have him do this next year with McCarthy on the bench, and then if he keeps it up, then they'll have until then. I just want to keep their options open for as long as possible.
Yeah. See, the other issue is that Darnold's not that old. Like, Darnold could play for another 10 years if he really wanted to, and he still had the sauce, So, I genuinely don't know what they do with McCarthy. Obviously, it's a good problem to have if you feel like you have two good, competent quarterbacks, because most teams don't even have one. But I mean, man, it's just what a crazy world they found themselves in. Also, I totally get why you guys voted for JSN. He would have been my second vote, just because we officially saw the breakout we wanted to see in his rookie year. It took a little bit of time, but he obviously overtook Lockett this year, and he looked really good on the field. I felt like he looked good last year. I don't know what wasn't functionally working there, but I felt like he looked good on the field last year too. So. And then Chase Brown, congratulations on getting 3 votes as well. All 3 of you will be receiving a $50 Polly Pocket gift card this year in the mail. So keep your eyes open for that. All right, so we are moving on to the 5th award of the evening. This is Defensive Rookie of the Year. Don't have to spend a ton of time on this, but I just wanted to have a Defensive Rookie of the Year award because I thought it'd be fun, because we have an IDP league and everything. So we had Jared Verse, 102 fantasy points. I don't know how to say this guy's last name. Mike Sayrin still. I found out from watching some episode of like behind the scenes, like Hard Knocks type thing for the Commanders. I think he was like a 5th or 6th round pick this year. But he was really good for them and had a few picks, had a bunch of tackles and stuff. 97 points on the season. Edgerrin Cooper, I think he's the middle linebacker from the Packers, 96 points. And then Tyler Nubbin, I don't know how you say that, 85 points. That guy went on like a 10 tackle spree toward the end of the year. He's huge too. I think he's like 6'3", like 220 for the Giants or something like that. But yeah. Any prediction on this one, guys?
I voted for Verse and I expected to be Verse. He just got the most positive press.
And, I voted for Cooper, but I think it was part of me just watching a lot of.
It's because you were watching the Josh Jacobs game, and it's Packers stuff is seared in your brain.
It's ingrained.
It's baked into your brain now. Yeah. All right, drum roll. We got Defensive Rookie of the Year is Jared Verse with 60% of the vote. He got 6 votes of the 10. Second place was Mike from the Commanders. I'm not going to try and say his last name again. And then 2 votes as well to Edgerrin Cooper. They both tied for second place. So congratulations to Jared. We will get you a Jared Galleria of Jewelry gift card because your name is Jared. All right. And now we move on to a little bit more fun version of what we just did. Defensive Player of the Year. So this was the one thing I should also mention while we're here. because we changed the IDP scoring, these points are based on our new IDP scoring, not what it was before. So I'm not sure exactly what these would have looked like before, but I did list the points that our new scoring would have resulted in. So Defensive Player of the Year contestants are Trey Hendrickson, 161 points, TJ Watt, 155 points, Zaire Franklin, 171, and then Zach Bond, everyone's favorite dude for this year on IDP's side of the ball, 170 points. So who'd you guys pick?
I picked Bond because I'm a homer for the Eagles.
I went Hendrickson,
And
but it's a close one, I think.
I mean Hendrickson also.
Yeah, I think all four of these guys could have deserved it for sure. All right, and
There are a lot of Eagles homers, so I kind of expect it to be mine.
yeah, and the winner is Zach Bond. So Zach Bond got 50% of the vote. He got 5 votes. And then Trey Hendrickson got 3, and Zaire Franklin got 2. TJ Watt, 0 votes because we all hate the Steelers around here. And so I'm proud of you guys. The Steelers hate is real, and glad we stood firm on our convictions there and made sure that TJ Watt would not see another gift card in his life. So Zach Bond, what a year for Zach Bond. I mean, I know we gushed about him on the last podcast, but just like, what the heck? Like, you have 3 like potential Hall of Fame caliber guys and Zach Bond on this list, and he went nuts. He had a crazy year. Just wow. And yeah, it's pretty awesome. Good for you, Zach Bond. All right, here we're gonna jump into the real meat and potatoes. The last 3 awards I think are my favorite. So, Rookie of the Year. Here's our contestants for Rookie of the Year. We have, first off, Jaden Daniels, QB5 overall. That's pretty pretty nuts for a rookie, first-timer. We have BTJ, Brian Thomas Jr., wide receiver 4 on the season, which that kind of blew my mind when I looked at that today. Like, I knew he had a really good year. I didn't realize it was wide receiver 4 type season. So that's just, yeah. Bo Nix, QB 10 on the year. And by the way, Bo Nix today threw like 5 more touchdowns. So he's probably going to end up more like QB 8, QB 7, something like that. Because he went bananas today against the Chiefs. Now, I think the Chiefs rested their starters, but still. And then you got Malik Neighbors, another LSU. First of all, just look at this list. It's literally 3 LSU guys on this list. Neighbors, wide receiver 7. And then you got Brock Bowers, tight end 2. And yeah, tell me your prediction for this one, guys. Someone from LSU.
I expect it to be Brian Thomas. I think I voted for Brian. I think I'm for Brian Thomas. Pretty crazy that LSU had these 3 guys, and they, instead of like winning a national championship like Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and Justin Jefferson, they won the ReliaQuest Bowl.
Yeah, right.
Pretty,
they must have had no defense.
what was
like,
going on there?
What was going on?
I think I voted for Brian Thomas. For me, it's between Brian Thomas.
How about you, Marv?
Yeah.
I voted for Jaden Daniels, but I'm partially biased because I
That's true.
had him at
That's
one point.
Did you draft him or did you trade for him?
Yeah, he did. He traded
Traded, yeah.
Kirk Cousins
Oh yeah,
to move up from.
I moved up one spot.
that was
I
the
remember
trade up
Cousins
moment,
and
and
Anderson.
everyone thought it was like
Yeah.
corny when it happened. Yeah,
Oh yeah, yeah. And we were at All Star for the draft,
mm-hmm.
and we were all roasting you in the draft room. What?
Marv, you have so many haters; they never believe in you,
Yeah.
and then you draft Jaden Daniels, and they just didn't get it. And
Yeah.
it's fun. Like one thing that's like hard to conceptualize in the moment. Okay, everyone has like this range of outcomes in their head for rookies, and it's like, okay, the best rookie is gonna be probably like QB 15, something like that. Like they'll kind of take some time. Like every single rookie takes time and all that stuff. But then when it actually breaks down by the end of the year, you're like, oh, So rookies can be like literally top 4 like right away. They could be the greatest tight end of all time, like straight out the gate, like Brock Bowers or something like that. Like you kind of, I think we tighten the way we look at rookies with the range of outcomes. But really, like the range of outcomes could be, you might get the QB5 this year, which is pretty insane. I don't think any of us would have predicted Jaden Daniels to be like that. But all right, moment of truth. I'm trying to do a drum roll thing while my baby's sleeping. And the winner is Jaden Daniels. Now, it's a little closer than you might have thought. Jaden Daniels, 40% of the vote, 4 votes out of 10. Brock Bowers, 3 votes out of 10. And then we split 1 with everyone else. So Brian Thomas got 1, Bo Nix got 1, and Malik Neighbors got 1. I think if you would have taken this poll, like maybe a month ago, everyone probably would have guessed that it was Jaden Daniels and Malik Neighbors would have taken this home. But the way that Bo Nix and Brian Thomas and Brock Bowers all kind of caught up is pretty crazy. Because like all 5 of these guys were nuts.
This is a crazy draft this year. Like you go back, compare like that. Like most years, it only feels like half like the first. It's in this year, it felt like.
Yeah.
Basically, I don't say basically everyone, but it felt like there were a ton of hits this.
Yeah.
Which.
How about the fact that
exciting.
That two crazy takeaways from this though. One, Caleb Williams is not on this list. Like if you would have guessed who would have been on the list, Caleb for sure would have been a top 5 rookie, right? But nope, apparently not.
Yeah. I was a huge Odunze.
Yeah, Odunze too.
I can't believe that. Like, was it Bryce Young the year before that was 101?
Yep.
And I understood part of his issue is he had no weapons at the time when he came into the league. But Caleb, like everybody,
he's got everybody.
Was saying he had everybody. You got Keenan, Odunze, and
DJ Moore.
DJ Moore.
Yeah, and you have Cole Kmet and DeAndre Swift, and yeah, I mean, it's crazy.
It's crazy to me that like I always thought Jaden Daniels was going to be decent.
Yeah.
But like he did this with Terry McLaurin.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. You could make a case that Zach Ertz played a role too later in the season, but like
but it's Zach Ertz, right?
Exactly. Like
Zach Ertz.
Yeah, the thing about Daniels that's crazy is like I actually think that his throwing is even more dangerous than his running, and when he came in, my guess on him was like he's probably going to be a little Justin Fields-esque. Like he's fast, he's tall. He will probably be a little hit or miss on throwing. Like I didn't think his throwing was going to be really good. It's really good. So that's pretty wild. Also, I need to know because Derek will never admit that Bo Nix is good. Do you guys think Bo Nix is good?
I wasn't a fan of him.
Okay.
But I am changing my mind. I am now on the page that I think he's good.
Do you think he'll be top 16 quarterbacks next year?
Yes.
Okay. How about you, Mio?
I don't.
He's gonna be middle third, sort of in the 13 to 20 range.
Okay, but you don't think he's got like top 10?
There are. Okay. I'm gonna bring up a list of quarterbacks.
No, don't bring up the Mac Jones thing.
Lamar.
Oh no, he's not better than Lamar.
Do you think?
No.
No. Burrow.
No.
Josh Allen.
No.
Baker.
Maybe.
Jaden Daniels.
No.
Jared Goff.
Probably not. Not as long as the Lions are still cooking. No.
Jalen Hurts.
No.
Patrick Mahomes.
Yes, just to troll Derek, yes. I mean, he's way better than Patrick Mahomes.
Okay. Are we talking real life or are we talking fantasy?
Just fantasy. Yeah, just fantasy.
Okay. Sam Darnold.
Oh, that's a really hard one actually, because the Vikings are so freaking good. I'm gonna say maybe on that one. But we've given. Sorry, go ahead.
Jordan Love, Brock Purdy.
I think he's right in that mix. I think if you want my honest take, he's in that tier with like Love, Purdy, Tua. Like he's probably in there. Is my gut reaction. But
Dak,
Patrick Mahomes is
Stroud.
gonna get benched, so Patrick
That's
Mahomes
sort
is
of-
not in there.
That's sort of a quarterback. It feels like there's a top guy, and then there's like being skill from like 8 to like
Yeah,
26.
yeah. I think it's
Probably gonna end up in that
yeah,
scale.
and it's what the big difference is with like the Love, Tua, Purdy, Goff tier is all those guys are with really good organizations and really good coaches, and the Broncos, as much as I don't love to admit it, Sean Payton has really turned the Broncos around like this year, like big time. Like their offense changed dramatically after like week 4, week 5. So yeah, pretty crazy.
And it's also crazy that like once again, like Knicks has Cortland Sutton.
Yeah,
And who else? Vele and Marvin Mims.
yeah. Marvin Mims, Vele,
Like
who's who of tight ends. Javante, who sucked this year. Yeah.
I get the hate sometimes, but like
Khalil McLaughlin.
yeah, like
Hey, he's actually kind of good.
he's
He's fine.
he's doing this with not a good cast like around him. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. I think he's solid. Like I didn't think that at the beginning of the year. I thought he was just gonna be just mediocre at best.
After the first 4 weeks, I was like, this is not only going to be a bad quarterback, this is going to be like a catastrophic quarterback. This is going to be like one of those guys that comes into the league and is like Zach Wilsoning like right away. Because if you go back and watch those first 4 games, they are brutal. Like he's just running around for his life trying to get like 80 yards on the day passing. Like it's brutally bad. But credit to Sean Payton, he figured out something that was missing, and now Bo Nix is like 304 touchdowns whenever he wants. It feels like so, pretty nuts how much that can change so fast. But it's rookie year, right? So like you kind of expect some of that, but yeah, after 4 weeks, I was like, bro, this is gonna be bad. All right, moving on to probably my favorite award of the day, Turd of the Year. So the nominees are, and there was plenty of
If I can just
turds out there. Go ahead.
If I can just say something quick, I think you sort of got into this a bit in your last answer. Things you said earlier is that this year really convinced you that like good organizations and bad organizations are better.
Yeah.
And I think that really emphasizes just how crazy it is that Brock thing, because like
Oh yeah.
Commanders, you can sort of say, like the Raiders,
Yeah.
they're terrible.
They're horrible.
This.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah,
I just wanted to,
that makes
give him
the
his flowers.
yeah him and Brian Thomas both like it doesn't make any sense that like they are truly a diamond in a pile of cow manure. Like there's nothing else around them right now. But yes, Turd of the Year time. So the nominees are CJ Stroud, which I didn't draft CJ Stroud anywhere just because I saw the hype on him and I was like, dude, there's just no way. Like he was getting drafted at like QB5, QB6, and he's a pocket passer. He doesn't run the ball. So yeah, I didn't have Stroud in like any leagues. Anthony Richardson, QB 27 on the year. Yikes. My favorite one here, Travis Etienne. He earned a special little award in our league this year for being dumpster. He was RB 40 this year. Michael Pittman, ouch, wide receiver 44. He's here with Richardson. That's ironic. Wide receiver 41, Deebo Samuel. Ugh, that one hurts. And tight end 15, everyone's favorite meme, Kyle Pitts. So, who do you guys think takes us home?
I picked
They're
AR.
all worthy in my opinion. All of them worthy. All of them were worthy. Kyle Pitts, special shout out. Everyone thought you were gonna be good now that you got back, and sucks.
I just want to know how many years? How many years are we gonna do the Kyle Pitts thing?
Yes.
It's just never gonna end.
Yeah. I voted for Michael Pittman. I probably could for Anthony Richardson, but I did vote for Michael Pittman just because it was obvious the moment the game started.
Oh,
Josh Downs better. It's like, okay,
there's
wow,
nothing.
that's a wasted pick.
Yeah, there's nothing worse than you spend all off season doing research and stuff, and then that one thing that like no one sees coming, that like, oh, Anthony Richardson really cannot throw the ball, and you learn it in like the first drive of the first game, and you're like, oh man, like I just drafted Anthony Richardson in round 5, or I just drafted Pittman in round 6. Like, oh, there's like something stomach turning about like just being so wrong right away. You know what I mean? Who did you vote for, Marv?
I voted for AR, but I think the reasoning behind it is he had a lot of hype, coming into the league.
Oh
and
yeah.
he's got a good cast around him. He's got a good running back too. Like, and I think what really did it in for me. Yeah, and like what really did it in for me was the game he tapped himself out because he was tired.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, yeah, dude. Like nobody does that in the NFL. Like that.
Yikes.
That's terrible.
Yikers. Yeah, that's really bad. Well, let's get into this. The 2024 Turd of the Year goes to a two-way tie between two of the best memes. We have Anthony Richardson with 3 votes, 30% of the vote, and Travis Etienne with 3 votes, 30% of the vote. We also had 2 votes go to Deebo Samuel and 1 vote apiece to Kyle Pitts and Michael Pittman. And then somehow, some way, nobody's mad at CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud got no votes. I think part of that is probably because he lost Diggs, and Nico was hurt for a while, and so you're like a little forgiving of the Stroud thing, and I get that. I don't think Stroud's bad. I think we haven't seen the best of Stroud yet, probably. But yeah, Anthony Richardson, is there a path for him next year? Do you guys think? Or no?
I don't think he's gonna be the starter in Indianapolis.
Yeah.
I think he's got 1 year left to prove himself. Kind of like Bryce Young had a year. I could see him being the starter next year, and if things go south again, he gets pulled, just like Bryce got pulled this year again.
Mm-hmm.
But
I don't know. The thing with Indianapolis is that Irsay is such a owner, but not unpredictable. He doesn't always make the most rational decisions.
Yeah, true.
And so I kind of low-key think that Dyken's going to get fired, and Ballard's going to get fired, and they're just going to do a complete set. I don't know.
All right, I'm gonna go through these, and I just want to know which of these guys would you take at a discount next year in like redraft? Would you take Stroud if he was going at QB 19? Yes, no.
In redraft is like
yes.
Oh yeah, in redraft, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. In redraft, yeah.
QB 19's like 10th round.
Yeah. Well, in our redraft league, it'll be like 3rd round because we overdraft QBs like crazy.
True. True.
Yeah. Anthony Richardson. Are you going to be drafting Richardson anywhere in redraft next year?
He'll probably be my bench quarterback later in the draft. Yeah, I'd put a spot on the roster for him.
I don't know. If he's going to be the starter, he's going to run.
Yeah.
So like I can see it happening.
Yeah, in a standard scoring league where rushing QBs get a buff, then maybe I could see it. ETN, are you taking ETN anywhere?
No.
I mean, this is all price dependent, but
Right. If he's going to RB40,
it's gonna
like
be
he finished-
hard. It's gonna be hard.
Yeah.
Trust any of these guys.
Yeah. How about Pittman? Is Pittman dead?
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
If Ayers is quarterback, he's
Yeah.
dead.
Yeah. If AR's the QB, yeah. If Flacco's the QB, I'm right back in on Pittman.
Oh,
Debo. Is
I'm
Debo over?
Debo gonna be a Niner next year?
I
take a
doubt
chance
it.
on him one more year. That late in the draft.
He started
That's
looking
true.
like
That's-
fullback
that's
Debo to me
true.
this year. There's something not working with those wheels anymore, dude. I don't know.
I don't know. The Niners as a whole have been tough.
Yeah, they've been getting
Um,
crushed this year.
As a bench player, I'd take Debo. Just
And then we're all kind of collectively done with Kyle Pitts finally.
Yeah, I'm over him.
Yeah, I'm not drafting Kyle Pitts anywhere.
I mean, I have a tendency if it's a late tight end build, yeah, but
Sure, yeah. All right. And finally, we have made our way to the big award of the evening. This is the FFL MVP of the 2024 Dynasty season. And the nominees are 1. Lamar Jackson, QB1, 521 points in our league. I believe that was like 40 or 50 more than second place. Mio, you can bet that for me. I forget who second place was. I don't think it was Josh
it's
Allen.
either Burrow or Allen.
I think it's Burrow,
It's
yeah.
either Burrow or Allen.
Yeah, I think Burrow was second this year. RB1 on the season, 359 points, Saquon Barkley. We had wide receiver 1 on the season, Jamar Chase, 345 points. And that one, I'm pretty sure that Jamar Chase was like something like, I think he was the only guy in the 300s. I think everyone else is in the 200s, and he has 345 points. So I think he's like 50 or 60 points above second place this year, which is just pretty nuts.
Yeah,
Chase has been...
In a season average, so average per game, he averaged 20 points a game.
Oh my gosh.
Second was Chris Godwin with 16.
Yeah, Godwin.
Justin Jefferson was 16.
Yeah, Godwin was
So
cooking.
an extra 4 points a game.
Yeah,
Over second place.
yeah, just ridiculous season. And then tight end 2 on the year, Brock Bowers. I threw Bowers on here instead of Kittle. They both had 196 points. Bowers lost to him by like 0.2 in our scoring to be tight end 2 on the year. But Bowers also, I think, came with a little bit more consistency than Kittle did. Kittle had more explosion games, though, for sure. That's why I threw Bowers on the list. But, guys, prediction. Who's going to win the MVP?
Lamar.
I forget if I voted for him. But I think it's going to be Lamar.
Yeah.
I actually forget who I voted for. In this
I remember who I voted for. I'll tell you after. But, Marv, you said Lamar, too?
Yeah, he was just so consistently good. Like, he didn't even have to have an amazing dynasty team this year.
Yeah.
Like, if you had just a decent team around Lamar, that's all you needed to make the playoffs, probably.
Yeah. Yeah, and
Yeah.
this is funny, too, but there's all this talk of, like, real-life NFL MVP right now. Lamar definitely deserves to be the real-life MVP, but I don't think he's going to win it because I think there's, like, actual, like, we have, like, the LeBron voter fatigue thing going on now where because Lamar won last year, and Lamar had a much better year this year than last year. If you look at the stats and everything, he's, like, I think he threw, like, 30-something touchdowns this year again. Last year he had, like, 24 or something like that. So, I mean, he has far exceeded as a passer this year. So Lamar, I don't think is going to win the MVP this year. I think they're going to give it to Burrow or Allen or something, even though he probably should be MVP again. They shouldn't have given it to him last year. I don't know what happened there. We didn't really have like a clear and away MVP last year, but I don't think Lamar was the MVP last year. But
It's very, as far as like real is, it's actually kind of funny because I thought Josh Allen should have won last year
yeah,
and Lamar should win. And I think it's gonna end up flipped.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I can
Need
tell
to
you.
like change the year on the trophy to make it right.
Yeah, for real. Yeah.
And I think
Oh, what were you
this
gonna say?
year there was 3 records that Lamar broke this year. He broke Michael Vick's all-time rushing
Yep.
record.
Yep.
He was the first quarterback in NFL history for I think his 4,000 passing yards and 800 rushing yards in a season. And he broke the passer rating record for a single season at
Hmm.
100 and I think 122 was his rating or 119, one of the two.
Yeah.
Like you break all these records and you're not getting MVP just blows my mind if that happens.
Yeah. Yeah. Lamar, far and away, I think this year is the MVP. And spoiler, Lamar did win FFL MVP as well. So, let's go through the votes real quick while we're on the topic. So, 60% of the vote, he got 6 out of the 10 votes. Lamar Jackson. Tied for second was Saquon Barkley with 2 votes, and then Jamar Chase with 2 votes. Yeah, I mean Lamar is definitely the MVP this year. I personally in our voting for this, I voted for Chase, only because I think the difference between having Chase this year to having any other receiver is bigger than having Lamar to having any other quarterback. I think there was some competitive QBs like Burrow, Allen, even Jaden Daniels on any given week. But Chase was just like such a ridiculous difference maker in fantasy specifically this year. So that's why I gave it to Chase. But I totally understand why you guys voted for Lamar. But yeah,
Alright. Chase is awesome. Saquon's awesome.
yeah.
Awesome.
Also, shout out to Brock Bowers.
Oh,
He
thank you.
he was just as good as those guys. I think Brock Bowers could win it next year maybe if he keeps getting better. I can't even imagine if he's not at his best already, but yeah. All right. Well, that is that does it for the FFL awards. But guys, I want to talk about one more thing, okay? I'm going to pull up, let me see if I can get it. A couple trades this year while we have Marv here, okay? So, I wanted to go back. Marv, I want to tell you about the exact day where I think the dream died for you, okay? I'm going to pull it up on my screen. I remember this particular trade here, okay? So, let me see if I can get it on my monitor. You did this trade on October 3rd, 2024. So this was 3-4 months ago. At one point, you can correct me if I'm wrong, didn't you have Lamar and Jaden Daniels at the same time?
Yeah, I started the year with Lamar
Yeah.
and I drafted JD. Yep.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so you did have both of them. And I remember telling Derek, I was pretty convinced that you were going to win if you just kept those 2 guys. And I still kind of believe that probably would have happened. But I remember this trade, and I want to hear your commentary on what happened here. So you traded Daniels to Coach Kip. It was Daniels and 3 IDPs for Dak, McLaurin, and a 2027 second round pick. So I just want to know why. What happened here?
Yeah, okay, so I'm just going back to my roster just to try to
Yeah,
recollect what I was going through in my head.
sure.
So I remember when I had Lamar and JD at the time. The rest of my roster stunk. I had J.K. Dobbins, Amari Cooper, Najee at the time wasn't doing much,
Yeah,
Kyle Pitts, and my bench was Darius Slayton, Brenton Strange, and CEH. And I remember thinking at the time, I have the best quarterbacks in the league, but I literally don't have solid depth. Like I have nobody to play on my bye weeks. Like I needed like another receiver or something. And I didn't have Saquon at the time. My mentality kind of changed. I think I might have lost 1 or 2 games and I was thinking, okay, can I still get another top 12 quarterback?
Right.
And get points in another position elsewhere too.
Right. So kind of like spread the wealth between a QB and a receiver like Terry or something. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, because I don't know if this would if I didn't make that trade, my roster going into the playoffs would have been Lamar, Alvin Kamara, who got hurt, Josh Jacobs, Cooper, Ridley, Pitts, Marvin Harrison, and Najee, and J.K. Dobbins. I don't think that roster would cut it in the playoffs. But I don't know. Like long term, that was a bad move for sure.
Yeah. How are you feeling about? Do you still have Dak, or is Dak gone?
No, I think Anderson has Dak because he got hurt. I think I traded him for Kyler. I made a really aggressive trade because he got hurt towards the end of the season and the trade deadline was coming up.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So it was. Oh, that's right. It was Nico Collins trade. Yeah. So it was Dak and Nico, for DJ Moore, Kyler, and this Tipton guy who keeps floating around our league somehow from the Saints. Yeah. So if you could go back and undo anything, would you go back and get Lamar and Daniels again?
I would get Lamar back for sure. If I had JD, I wouldn't probably have Saquon.
That's fair.
That's a tough one. Amari Cooper just turned into a pile of crap. That didn't work out.
Derek was trying to get a haul off me for Amari Cooper at one point. I was like, brother, you need to chill. That dude is old.
I definitely regret like not having Lamar. I can kind of live with the JD situation though, just because my roster at the time wasn't very good.
Right. I mean, if you thought you were gonna lose if you didn't make the move, I get it. I just having both those guys going forward would have been like Christmas morning every day. It's just insane. I remember this trade, the Lamar trade is not bad at all. I think you just straight up got Jalen Hurts and Andrews for Lamar, I think is what happened here, if I'm reading this right.
Yeah,
so I mean,
like Lamar and a 3 or something.
Yeah, if you're throwing Jalen Hurts around with Lamar, it's kind of that could be a wash on any given Sunday for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the most memorable, pivotal point for you in my recollection. Mia, was there anything you thought of for crazy trades that happened this year as like a trade of the year candidate?
Nothing is coming to mind. Back to the previous league.
I'll bring up one of mine.
I thought.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I thought we already mentioned it. The Kirk Cousins to move up spot trade. I thought that was pretty crazy.
That was crazy. I'm excited for some draft day trades this year because I went back and looked at all our old drafts, and the first 2 drafts there was only like 2 or 3 trades, and now every draft since then has had every single pick traded pretty much at some point. It's crazy to look at.
I have a trade that I am proud of.
Okay, I want to see it.
And I know I have none of these players still. But trading Marvin Harrison Jr. For Chris Olave and Drake London, I thought was a steal.
Oh, I remember that. Remember that.
That is pretty crazy.
I felt like I got 2 Marvins for giving away a Marvin.
For one,
Drake London's a stud. I have him above Olave, but they're both studs in my opinion. Mm-hmm. But I think London has just a crazy amount of upside. It might not be as high as Marvin, but I thought that was a good deal.
I was gonna say, how do you guys feel about Marv going forward? Like, do you feel like Marv is gonna be what everyone thought, like next year, like 100 catch type guy, or not really?
I think so.
I sort of feel like the way Arizona wants to work, they they want him to threaten, keep the safeties back so they can run it up the middle of James Conner. His problem too is that the coaching staff just feels very happy. Basically, do cardio routes.
Yeah.
To open up the run game.
That's
very frustrating for us, but not for James Conner owners.
I don't know what you call this ratio. Is it catch to target percentage? I don't know. But Marv, I've been watching this all year, You see it on the field a lot. Like Kyler and Marv do not have any chemistry. It's like anti-chemistry. Every single time he tries to chuck Marv the ball, like it looks like either Kyler thought Marv was going to run a different route, Kyler thought Marv was going to run the route differently, or Marv thought Kyler was going to throw the ball differently. Or like something is just not syncing like even a little bit. Marv had 110 targets. That's a lot of targets. But he had 57 catches. Like, what is that, like half?
What's his 8 on it? Like, are these all like?
Oh yeah, they're all. So he's like a true. I don't know if you call it X receiver or whatever. He's a true like sideline receiver. Kind of like Drake London, where like you're not running him a crap ton on like slants or like easy stuff or screens or like none of that. So like who's like the total opposite of that problem is freaking Amon-Ra. If you ever look at Amon-Ra's stats, he actually like I was getting a little nervous this year. I know no one's gonna feel bad for me because I have Amon-Ra, but I was getting a little nervous this year because he had a low amount of targets compared to last year. He had 30 less targets this year, and if you take away like down the stretch here, he had an 18 target game, an 8 target game, a 10 target game. If you like even that out to more like 6s and 7s, he's probably down like 50 targets this year. But he still had 109 catches because him and Goff are just like always in sync. So like if he ever gets a target, it's almost always a catch, Whereas like Marv, I feel like it's a total opposite of like it's a 50-50 shot that Marv is even near the ball. It's crazy. I don't know what's happening there, but it's really bad.
Yeah, I was a little disappointed, like, 'cause I watched a lot of Cardinals games this year.
Yeah.
And it just seemed like either Kyler was running for his life, or anytime he took a deep shot to Marvin, it was terrible. Like, it wasn't even close. And the same thing happened when I watched the Dolphins games. The Tua to Tyreek combination.
Oh, yeah. It was really
terrible.
bad this year. Yeah.
Like,
I'm going to see how many catches Tyreek got this year.
I don't want to go down a rabbit hole, but that gave me another, like, it just irritated me, like, watching Tua make these quick, immediate throws to, like, Jonnu or A-Chain, and it's like, you have Tyreek, you know that, right? Like,
yeah. Well, that does it for our 2024 FFL awards. I guess just any closing remarks, guys, on like goals, hopes, and dreams you have for this off season and the coming 2025 season.
Really hoping to lose some games. Do a full rebuild. Looking forward to it.
Are you gonna play a 0 RB again, Leo?
I don't know.
You have the 101, right?
Oh yeah, I guess you can't.
You might trade it.
Like I don't. I'm a very big believer that you just gotta play to your strengths, and I feel like 0 RB, I just feel a lot more confident in my ability to make it work with bad RBs.
Sure. Yeah.
I'm not very good at figuring out who the wide receivers are, so I'm just gonna get Justin Jefferson. And then just figure it out at running back. But I don't know. That doesn't seem like a very good long-term plan.
Yeah, and literally as I just made that comment about Tyreek, I just got a notification on my phone.
I literally just saw that too.
Dolphins star Tyreek Hill indicates his time in Miami is over after season finale.
Yeah, because we didn't make the playoffs. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
He's on the. I think he has a contract till 26.
By Jaden Waddle.
But I mean that's gonna be good for Waddle, obviously. But yeah, that's it's been a really. I know we don't want to do the sulking Dolphins thing at the end of this episode, but it's been a really bad Dolphins season. It's just the Tua injury again, and the offense not quite working, and then we're getting Jonnu a million targets a game, and like, yeah, it's just we gotta figure something out. But yeah, I guess I'll finish with this. My dream is just to make the playoffs again as a guy who completely cucked himself and made sure that I couldn't make the playoffs last year. I'm gonna try to find a way to make the playoffs this year with my star-studded, just completely jacked team that led the league in scoring but couldn't make the playoffs somehow. Also, if anyone wants a running back, I'm selling Brian Robinson, Rico Dowdle, and all that stuff. So, let's make some moves. But
yeah, I would say that like my team is old, and I don't have picks, so I'm just hoping. I kind of went all in this year, and I'm probably gonna ride the roster out next year unless I get like a good offer for Saquon or Josh Jacobs.
Mm-hmm.
So without picks, I'm just gonna have to ride this team another year and hope I stay relevant. So
yeah, you'll have picks right after the draft again that you can trade.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, with all guys, you sort of have to just hold, and then whenever they start scoring points again, see the points again.
Yeah.
Excited. This time of year, it's picks and the little age number next to their guy to be low.
Yep. My one guy I can't quite decide on yet is just Travis Kelce. Like, I told myself a while ago that I was just gonna let him go into the sunset on my roster because he's just that good, and there's no good tight ends. So like, what's the point of moving off a tight end that gets 100 catches every year? But I don't know how long. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if Kelce hung it up after they win the Super Bowl this year. So we'll see what happens. But yeah,
that's crazy. That how's he gonna win the Super Bowl? It's gonna be Ravens against the Eagles.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what actually happens. I guess, yeah. Give your Super Bowl take. Who's gonna win? While we're here.
You want my biased opinion and then my realistic opinion?
Yes, both. Yeah, just get the biased one out of the way. We already know what it is.
Biased opinion is a Ravens-Eagles Super Bowl.
Okay.
I'd love to see a rematch. Battle of the Birds. That's my dream Super Bowl is Ravens-Eagles.
You guys were probably you guys probably won the last game.
Yeah. That's just like
probably pretty desperate for it.
yeah, if I wasn't a Ravens fan, I tell Derek this all the time. If I wasn't a Ravens fan, I'd be an Eagles fan just because I was in PA most of my life, and I hate Steelers fans. But
yeah, me too.
My realistic opinion is Bills Lions. That's my opinion. Lions take it all.
I agree. I'm going. Lions are finally gonna get over the hump. They're gonna win this year. They're gonna actually knock off though. Good old Patrick Mahomes. They're going to beat Patrick Mahomes, and it's going to be the most epic moment for Lions fans ever. So,
yeah,
congratulations, Lions fans. But all right,
I think it's going to be like realistically. I just saw already that the Chiefs are going to win it. That'd be, I don't know. Like, I'm torn between the Eagles and the Vikings and the Lions. Like, it could be any, but the Chiefs are gonna beat them, and I just know it deep in my heart. I hate it, but I know it.
Oh, it's pain. That's pain right there. But yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. The Chiefs don't even have 400 points this year, and I think the Lions are like 550 or something. It's crazy. But yeah, that does it for the FFL awards, guys. I hope that you enjoyed this episode. I know Marv and Mio and myself, we all enjoyed talking about all the awards and all the crazy stuff that happened this year. Look forward to seeing you all at the draft. I don't know where we're going to have it yet, but that will be in the chat at some point. But yeah, we're going to have a just baller time meeting up for the draft this year. Marv, are you finally going to fly up and come to the draft party?
There's a chance. Yeah.
If Derek sends you more feet pics, will you do it?
Yeah, that might.
Heck yeah. Awesome. Well, that does it, guys. I hope you enjoyed. And yeah, well, I think the next podcast will be like a draft preview before the NFL draft, so that'll be fun. And if you want to hop on that episode, just like Marv hopped on this episode, then yeah, DM me or something, and we'll make it happen. So, all right, toodles.